So that's the first required element. Are we okay so far? Any questions, doubts? No? So now consideration. The second element. Consideration is better understood, better known as the benefits both parties derive from that transaction. I'm going to repeat. When you buy the juice, your benefit is the juice. The store's benefit is the price you are paying. So all contracts require mutual benefits. If there are no mutual benefits, if only one party is benefiting, there's no contract. Remember when I told you I would give you extra marks if you can pronounce my name correctly by the end of the course? Will I get any benefit? Direct benefit? No. Will you get a benefit? Yes, extra marks. So it means that what I did to you was a gratuitous promise, a free promise. Just one side would be benefiting. Legally speaking, free promises, gratuitous promises, they are not enforceable. If you pronounce my name correctly and I don't give you the extra marks, you cannot sue me because it's not enforceable. This has a very important real consequence. When you sign your employment agreement, you are giving the benefit of your experience, your knowledge, your training, loyalty, punctuality, right? Good work. And the employer is giving you the benefit of paying salary, safe work conditions, benefits they have agreed upon. So you're working in a good pace, good quality. Your boss comes to you and say, hey, I'm promising you a bonus before Christmas if you keep on working the way you are, because I love it. If you keep on working the way you are, is this an extra benefit? Or is this the benefit you gave when you signed the employment agreement? Which one? Keep on working the way you are. Is this an extra benefit or is this a past benefit? To the employer, to the company. It's the same benefit. It's the past benefit. What about the bonus? Is the bonus a new benefit to you? Yes. So would you agree that only you would be getting a benefit? So there is no consideration. If your boss doesn't give you the bonus, you cannot sue them. It's not enforceable. One remedy you have in this situation: start praying and hope for your boss to pay you the bonus. This is one remedy. A second remedy, I'll tell you. Not in here. I'll tell you. Okay, I'll be here. A second remedy, promissory estoppel. Promissory estoppel is when you are made a promise, you rely on that promise, and if that promise is not lived up to, you have a loss. It is detrimental to you. In this case, you can sue. So if your boss promises you, and see, I cannot give you legal advice, so I'm not giving you legal advice, just a recommendation. If your boss promises you a bonus, if you keep on working the way you are, go ahead and make plans with that bonus. Try to buy a new car, a new vacation package, enroll for other courses. So make plans to spend that money. Get committed. And if they don't pay you the bonus, you will sue them for promissory estoppel. You relied on the promise, and because they are not living up to the promise, you have a loss. You have damage. Right? So the only circumstance in which a free promise can be enforceable is promissory estoppel. By the way, if you like Suits, the TV show, you know Suits, Harvey. So if you go to season 3, episode 14, Megan is discussing with Luz about the promissory estoppel. She was offered a bonus. She then decided to go back to law school, but then she says, hey, what if I don't get the bonus? Luz said, well, it's not a written promise. Don't worry about this written requirement. We'll discuss this in the future, but if you watch this part of the episode, I believe it's minute 28 until 30. So she says, but well, I made plans with the bonus, so I could sue for promissory estoppel. And Luz said, yeah, it's debatable. But yeah, she makes a very good claim on promissory estoppel because she relied on the bonus to apply for law school. Now she has a debt of the law school. If she doesn't get the bonus, she has lost.
And how do you, you can prove that? Because then if you sue the other party, you don't have any.
This is an issue for evidence. Very important, but what I want to convey is that when we have difficulties to prove something, to establish evidence in something, it doesn't mean we don't have a right. We do have a right, the promissory estoppel. Proving, maybe witnesses, maybe you have audio recording, maybe you have video recording. Those are the ways to prove something. So sometimes, even though you have a right, you cannot prove it. So that's why I told you in the beginning, it's always advisable to have agreements in writing, so that you have the evidence, okay? Or at least a witness, right? So yeah, I know it's difficult, but it doesn't affect your right, okay? So, I was telling you that free promises, they are not enforceable except on promissory estoppel, as I gave you the example, right? Consideration does not need to be fair. The benefit, one of the parties or both parties are benefiting, are getting from the agreement, they don't need to be fair. So I want to buy your laptop and I want to pay $5. And you accept this. The consideration I'm giving you, the price I'm paying you, is specific. It's fine, it's legal. The courts don't demand them to be fair or adequate. Okay? But there's one thing. If you bring me to court, this unfair price will raise the concern of the judge that something illegal may have happened. Such as, she accepted to sell for $5 because she was threatened. She was intimidated. But I'm not saying the courts will presume this. I'm saying that the courts may develop this concern. Okay? Because consideration does not need to be fair. Does not need to be adequate. Okay? For whatever reasons, she wants to sell me for $5. That's fine. You are getting a benefit, $5, I'm getting your product. So that's valid consideration. Okay? Clear? New consideration. It is a new price, a new benefit. So when your boss offers you a bonus, try to come up with a new benefit for you. Try to add a new job duty, new time, something new. Give a new benefit. Because when you give a new benefit and you get a new one, so this is known as new consideration. So consideration is valid. Okay? The gardener comes to my house, charges $50, and needs 2 hours to do the garden. And then it's easier than the gardener thought. The gardener comes to me and says, hey, I can leave 1 hour earlier if you pay me extra $50. Is there new consideration? Is there a new benefit for both parties? He will leave 1 hour earlier. Is this a new benefit for me? No? Why not? What if I want to start a party? What if I want my kids to play in the garden? I may have 1 hour more. Right? That's a new direct benefit. If I will use the garden or not, but he's leaving earlier than previously agreed. And then the new benefit for the gardener will be the extra $50. So yes, there's new consideration. Okay? What if the gardener offers to not only do the garden, but also clean after garden? And this was not agreed before, for extra money. So there's new consideration. What I'm saying is that when you have a current agreement and you want to negotiate amendments, changes to that agreement, it requires new benefit for both parties. It requires new consideration. Okay? That's important in terms of consideration, unless it's going to be invalid. So, past consideration is not consideration. Past benefit is not consideration. The example I gave you, keeping on working well, is something you have given as consideration in the past already, so you cannot use it again. Right? And contracts that have illegal consideration, so no mutual benefits, they are void, they are illegal, they are null, they don't exist. If I make a loan to you, you get a loan with me, 5,000. So you promise to pay the loan in 6 months, 1 year, 10 years, I don't know, we negotiate. But then you don't pay me, you default. And then you make an offer, you say, hey, I'll pay 4,000, but not the 5. In the past, courts would say, no, paying 4,000 or even less is not new consideration, because you had to pay the full amount. It is past consideration, right? But now courts understand that satisfying that with less amount, it is new consideration. Because courts understand that he had defaulted. I would not get anything. So it's better to get less than nothing. So this getting less is a new benefit, is new consideration. So especially for debts that were defaulted, if you offer to pay less, it is a valid consideration. Courts now understand what it is. Okay? Good. So promissory estoppel, I told you already. So that's the last question of the lecture. What do you think? C? So, what is the main issue you are analyzing there? What is the main issue we have to assess?
Refuse to pay the money, the work is done in the time, and then he refused to pay the new amount.
Okay. Okay, refusing to pay the amount. The worker, Z, yeah, Z, is receiving 500 and was also promised $85 more. It was agreed. So would this extra amount, what is the requirement for this extra amount, this extra benefit to be enforceable? By February 10th. Completing by February 10th is before February 13th, right? So would you agree that the issue here is based on consideration? If there's a new consideration, a new benefit or not? Because this benefit has to be mutual. Cannot only be 2Z getting 85 more. So X also has to get another benefit for this new agreement to be valid. Do you see a benefit finishing 3 days earlier? There's a new benefit, so you can start using the cabinet. So C is the correct one, the full amount. The 500 plus the extra amount, because there is valid new consideration. If X says, hey, it's going easier, will you pay me 85 less or 85 more without giving anything in return? Then this would not be new consideration. So only the 500 would be due. Okay, but we do have new consideration. Questions? Doubts? So, we started looking at contract law today. We saw the first two required elements for a valid contract. First one, consensus, that is made of a valid offer and effective acceptance. And we also saw consideration, the price one is willing to pay, or better defined as the mutual benefits of the parties. Gratuitous promises or free promises, it is regarded as no consideration, so not enforceable, except if it is promissory estoppel.